Sound will come in here in a moment. They have the cameras muted. They say that it's muted the first 10 seconds they activated, 30 seconds. But it appears to be their bullshitting.
Officer Sparosio.
Hey, Officer Sparosio. My name is Chris. Did the call taker pass you in a little bit? What's going on?
Well, I read the call from earlier. Why don't you tell me directly from yourself what's going on, and we'll see what we can do to help you.
Sure thing. Okay, so upon reviewing files and such, I came across this. I already knew that there's fraud that happened, but I finally have the evidence of it. Upon me renting a car or getting my car worked on, so I put my car into the dealership to have it worked on as a brand new car, brand new that same year. So I had the car, I wrecked it, so I had some suspension issues going on with it, so the insurance company put it into the shop. And after a week of the car being there, I had the loaner car. They gave me a loaner car in courtesy, just like every Subaru dealership does. And I believe Cadillac does too. But so upon having the car for, I think, 4 days, upon 4 or 5 days, I started, I got a call saying that they wanted the car back. So I called them back. I said, so you guys got my car done? You guys moving it to the body shop now? And they're like, no, we haven't worked on the car at all. And the guy just had a shit attitude the whole time. So I was like, okay, well, what do we need to do? I can come up there and switch the cars out. So they lured me there saying, yeah, we got another car for you. We need that one back. Apparently the tags were bad or something. They gave me the wrong car or something. I don't know what they did. But so I drove all the way back up there to go return the car. And as upon I got to the area, they called the car in stolen and had the police from Westminster come down and pick up the car and left me stranded. And then they still had my car the entire time. So after almost a week goes by, finally I be able to go get my car. And that's when I find out that, they filed a police report on me, and the police show up to talk to me and this and that. And so I got charged with second-degree aggravated theft of a motor vehicle on a civil case.
Well, that depends on, from what you're saying, it sounds like they gave you permission to have the car for 4 or 5 days, didn't say anything to you.
No, they didn't give me permission to have it for 4 or 5 days. After 4 or 5 days, they started calling me, harassing me. There's on the customer invoice, there's no return date whatsoever.
Okay, how long did you have the car for?
For about 7 days, but then they submitted into the police report that I had a rental contract agreement signed that I could have the car for 15 days.
Did you sign anything that said you were
The car was taken within...
Go ahead.
Say what?
Did you sign anything that said that you were
taken... Before that 15 days. And I didn't sign nothing, no.
So they just gave you the keys to a car? You didn't sign any agreement for anything? They just gave you the keys to the car?
So, obviously, you can hear this officer trying to spin everything. You can clearly hear what the man said. And then he spun it saying, you're supposed to have a car back in 5 days. If I'm not the only one that didn't comprehend just listening to that and comprehending that's what it was, and how this officer comprehended totally different, that's a big red flag, y'all. Like, this is who's working to protect us. This man was initially calling in to make a report on a car dealership, apparently, who wronged him and maliciously prosecuted him with a court case, apparently, for some sort of stolen car. Sounds like to me so far that he rented no car. He actually just turned his car into the shop, or his insurance company did, rather. And got a loaner car, a courtesy vehicle, in return of this. So, got all these charges against him, all this stuff going on. And apparently, he's calling in to make a fraud report against a dealership. And this is how they're taking the call and dealing with it.
Back with cash, and that I was responsible for the insurance. That was the only two things that I did.
Do you have a copy of the thing that you signed?
It was in the car that they took from me.
Oh, okay. So you don't have a copy you can show me or anything?
Wait for it.
But the invoice that they submitted, the customer invoice says that there's no return date. So they're sitting there trying to file charges on me not turning it in time. Well, there's no return date. And also the VIN number they put onto the case is a fraudulent VIN. The car doesn't even pull up. There's no card with that VIN number.
Okay. What police department arrested you?
Well, I was back at home in Kansas. I got arrested by my local department for a traffic violation.
You were in... So they gave you the car here and you took it to Kansas?
That's a setup question.
No, I got arrested for it back in Kansas.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know anything about the case being put onto me or anything like that because I finally got my car back, so I just took it back to another place to have it fixed and just carry it on. Like, okay, well, just wash my hands from that place.
So
but
where was their car when you got your car? Where was their car when you got your car?
So after I got my vehicle back. Say what?
Are you nearby where I can talk to you in person?
Okay.
So he's asking this guy if he's in person, so he can go arrest him, basically. The reason why there seems like to be a lag in the phone call is because the guy that made this video, the cop, he's sitting here trying to dance around and get some sort of confession or statements or whatever from this man to have evidence to use against him. So remember, when you're talking to police, it doesn't matter what police it is, even if you're calling to make a report, they are using everything and anything you say against you.
So I'm a little confused about what's going on, and I try to help you.
Once you meet up with me.
Well, just listen. You're on the phone with me, right?
Right, but I have some specific questions, but I know you want to talk about your circumstances, but I have some specific questions to kind of clarify, so that I can help you clarify what's going on and maybe what you can do to deal with it. But I'm a little confused as to what you're saying.
Against me, it's grievously violating my rights on many levels. So I'm just trying to find out what I need to do. You guys were the last ones I wanted to call because you guys are the ones that fraudulently filed this case against me to begin with. So I mean, I'm just looking for help from my civil servants to help me.
We fraudulently filed a case against you?
Yes.
We don't file cases against
Detective
people.
Butler.
Okay. What we do is we take reports from people. They file the report with
Your
us.
department, I'm saying, is I feel like you're not being, you're trying to ask me if I'm around in person and this and that. Dude, I'm not even from there. I'm dealing with this situation. I'm from out of town. I was there on vacation, and this whole situation popped up.
Okay, well, I apologize. I don't know any of that. I don't know you. I don't know the circumstance. That's why I want to ask you some specific questions.
And I'm sorry if I come off shitty to you.
So, he don't know me. What the fuck does that even have anything to do with knowing this? I don't. And he wants to meet in person, trying to entrap. He's doing nothing but lying, deceiving, and he's doing it to do his job. I get that, but look, his job's not to go fraudulently arrest other people from other people's fraudulent arrest. If you take notice, they buy their cars from Chevy dealership. The Subaru dealership in the town owns the Chevy dealership. It's all connected. This is what's going on. It's a big cover-up. Wait for the next call that comes.
Dealing with this, like, I did no wrong at all with this whole situation, and they basically used the police department for like a repo company. if you're familiar or have heard about the Hearst car rental lawsuits going on.
I'm sorry, I don't
My
know.
situation is very similar to that. If you don't know, then I guess you don't know. But
I'm sorry, no, I haven't even heard of that. What you could do is
I don't mean to be shitty towards you, man, and I know you don't have any any kind of existence or you had no partaking to this situation. I'm sorry if I came off crappy to you, man. I'm sorry.
Well, that's why it'd probably be best for you.
Get help, bro.
Sure. Well, it'd probably be best for you to talk to Officer Butler, and Officer Butler can clarify for you why we had probable cause to have you arrested for the vehicle and what his information was. Because we can't just arrest
That's
people.
what I say. You guys got the wrong information. They lied to you to use you guys to overturn something that was going to be a lemon law lawsuit against them. So they put this thing against me to avoid that.
Okay. Well, I have no idea about your circumstances, and that's why I was asking you which agency arrested you and how that came to be, because if it was us, I can refer you to an officer at Fort Collins that can clarify all that for you, or you can give them the correct information that maybe they have the wrong information. If it's a different agency, I'd have to refer you to them.
So you're telling me I can't file fraud charges? I can't file my own police report against them right now?
Not with me right now, because I don't know anything about the case. You'd have to talk to the officer who dealt with the case, because then they can say, oh, okay, this information that you have pertaining to this case, I can look at
whether... I tried to talk to that officer the day it happened, and I told him and explained all this to him then, but he still decided he was going to put this fraudulent case and become a car bookie and decide what the price of the car was and everything. Like, he didn't help me any.
Okay. Well, if the officer that looked in...
investigation, so I don't feel like he's my best avenue to figure out something.
Well, if the officer...
I can get a hold of the sergeant or a lieutenant?
You could get a hold of a sergeant if you have a complaint against the officer, but what I'm saying to you is that I have no idea about the case. If you've already given an officer the information that you want to give me, and they already looked into it, and they determined that you were still going to get charges, I simply don't know. I can't help you because I don't know about the case. And if you don't feel...
Let's just scratch all that. I want to make a report against Fort Collins car lot dealership, the name of Dellenbach Super for fraud and forged documents.
Sure. What you need to do... Sure, so you need to contact that Officer Butler and speak to Officer Butler about that. If you feel like you can't get anywhere because you've already done that, you can talk to a supervisor and have a supervisor look into it. So we can definitely talk to you about it, but I don't have the information about the case. I don't know about the case, and officers already investigated it. And like I said, if you have a problem with that officer, it's not a problem at all to talk to a supervisor and get some clarification, or talk to the supervisor about your concerns about that. We take all that very seriously. It's not a problem to talk to a supervisor if you feel like Officer Butler is not helping you. But I always refer people to the investigating officer because they know what's going on. They know what they looked into. They know what Dellenbaugh told him. They know the documents that they have from Dellenbaugh and what they may or may not have from you. I don't have any of that. I don't know any of that. What I would do is I would have to talk to Officer Butler.
Of getting a man to honor that he did something wrong and to admit to that. What's the odds of that?
That's a philosophical issue. I
can't help you. Of your guys' department.
I can't help you with that. All I can direct you to is talk to a supervisor about your concerns, and a supervisor can look into it and find out what's going on and see if they can help you further.
Okay, so
I'm not the person that works. I'm not the person that would be able to help you with that. A supervisor is the person that would be able to help you.
What do you do then?
I'm a patrol officer. I'm a patrol officer, and if Dellenbaugh called and told me, hey, this guy stole our car, that doesn't mean that I just get an arrest warrant for the person. That means I investigate and see if there's proof of that. I would try to call you or whoever's involved. I would get documentation and investigate. And if I had documentation that proved that somebody stole the car, I would file the charges based on the information and investigation.
And I wish you would have handled my situation, man.
And I would assume that's what Officer Butler did, but I don't know, because again, I'm not privy to any of that information, which is why I would refer somebody to the officer. And if you feel like you've already done that and you don't feel the outcome was was correct, you can talk to a supervisor, and a supervisor can look into it. But I don't have the ability to look into another officer's investigation. That's something a supervisor would do, which is why I'm telling you I'm not in the position to help you with that.
He can't take a
Yeah, that's
town
fair enough, bro.
report.
I hear you there. All right. And so, like, who's your guys' chief now, then?
Our chief is Svoboda.
That's not his name.
Who is it now?
Chief Svoboda. I'll spell his name for you.
Okay.
Hold on just a second. Do you have something to write down?
Yes, sir. Yeah, no worries, bro. There's some names I have trouble,
Going on, and then talk to you, so that way they know. SWOBODA. So you can call and leave a message for him, or you can simply talk to the supervisor who is working right now, and that supervisor can pass it on to whoever Officer Butler's supervisor is, so that they can look into it. Or if you want, you can call the chief's desk and leave a message to talk to the chief.
The chief that he doesn't know his name or how to say it, but he works for him, and he's representing this town. He sounds like a dirty cop to me.
that'd be awesome. Like,
The
can I get
chief's
the
not
number
going
for
to
that,
know.
man?
But the chief's not going to know either, and the chief's going to have to talk to the officer or talk to the supervisor and kind of figure out what all the circumstances and what's going on, and then talk to you, so that way they
I'd
know.
rather it trickle down the chain of command.
Yeah, it's up to you.
This is a serious situation, and I'm trying to keep it from me. My lawyer is coming in. Sarah Shelke's had fun with you guys. That's who my lawyer is. So, like, I'm trying to help you guys out with the criminal side of things instead of you know what I mean?
Well, I don't think we
as far
have.
as the civil rights side, that would all just go against the dealership. You know what I mean?
That may be. Like I said, I really have no idea about the case or what kind of proof Officer Butler has. I simply just don't know. I don't know anything about the case.
So if I can just talk to the chief, then he can go ask the question.
He has it pulled up on his computer. That's why it's redacted out. But he's saying he don't know anything about the case. He has specific questions trying to entrap this man and get him to put words, like, man, I wish I could say the words I want to say, but YouTube will block me if I do.
The same thing I've been talking to him for the last 2 years about, you know what I mean?
Sure, that's up to you.
I kind of get tired of repeating myself.
Sure, no, I get it. If you want to call the main number that you called originally, which is at 221-6540, if you want to call that main number and let them know you'd like to leave a message for the chief, and they'll probably ask you what it's about, so they know. I don't know how they do that, but they'll probably ask you some questions about what it's about, and then they can direct you how.
Well, that's kind of weird, isn't it? I mean, shouldn't you just go call and leave a message? Why should they? That's screen calling.
Maybe they send an email. I don't know how they do that, but they'll probably ask you, and then they can direct you how.
Well, that's kind of weird, isn't it? I mean, shouldn't you just go call and leave a message? Why should they? That's screen calling. It's calls.
But I don't think you can just call the chief directly, but I don't know. Maybe you can, because I don't handle those things. Again,
well, he's a public servant. We should be able to. I mean, he works for us.
You can talk to the chief, but I don't know if you can just call his, home phone number.
Oh, you can just straight up just call him up. Yeah, I get it. He's a busy guy. I get it.
But I mean, we don't get that out.
So you can't give me his number then, or pass me over just to leave a message like you're saying.
I'm not able to.
I gotta call that number back.
I can't patch you over to that. You'd have to call the main number. Just let them know. You talk to a person, right, when you call the first time?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just call the same number and say, hey, I want to leave a message for the chief of police, and they'll let you know how they go.
He said you called and talked to a person when you first called, right? What? This is the kind of ignorance that we're dealing with. That's deception. By him being like that, that's deception. That's him being condescending deception.
not going to tell you no, we're not doing that. They'll help you with how that works, and they'll work out how you can leave a message for the chief. I don't know how that works, so I don't want to give you the wrong information. But I know you won't be able to just call the main number and directly talk right away to the chief, because he's probably not even in right now. You know what I mean? And that would be great if you could talk to him immediately. And if he was working and if he was available, he would probably just talk to you immediately. But I'm sure he's not available right now. But you can leave a message for...
I want everybody to take note what time it is on the clock in the top right screen. And I guess the chief don't work on past 4 p.m. or something. I don't know.
Because, like I said again, I mean, I'm just not the person that can do that for you. Otherwise, I would. This way you're not talking to other people.
What was your badge number and name?
My name's Officer Sparacio. Do you want me to spell that for you? It's kind of a difficult name.
Yes, please.
It's S-P-A.
Yeah, it is a little bit.
Yeah, sorry. It's S-P-A-R-A-C-I-O. And my badge number is 152.
Have a good weekend, man. Be safe.
Yeah, thank you. You need anything else?
No, that's all, bud.
All right, thank you.
Hello.
Hi, can I speak to Christopher?
Yeah, it's him.
Hey, this is Sergeant Kincaid with Fort Collins Police. How are you?
Hey, man. Yeah, good.
Good. I was told by one of my officers you wanted to speak to a supervisor.
Yeah.
Okay, it's in regards to a stolen vehicle case.
Yeah.
Okay. What did you want to talk about?
Well, I was actually trying to file a fraud case against the dealership. This is what I called in for. I'm not talking about the case.
Okay. You're trying to. What are the circumstances surrounding the fraud? What are the circumstances surrounding the fraud?
I got fraudulent paperwork that they filed with your guys' department, and I got proof of it.
Okay. And what kind of paperwork are we talking about?
Rental agreements and the time lapse that they displayed to you guys, and that there's no return date on the customer invoice.
Okay. Are you still going through the court process for the stolen vehicle case?
Yeah, COVID happened. I've been trying to get back in there with my lawyer and everything, but yeah.
Okay. So, there's obviously, I read through the case report that Officer Butler documented, and in there he alludes to the fact that he had follow-up conversations with you, and that you had mentioned that you had some documentation or something that you wanted to submit to him, and that he never received any of it.
Phone call.
I was unable to send him out the phone call recordings, and I have the phone call recordings that I had with him too. So I mean, for what he put in the report, it's very vague, and a lot of things left out.
Okay. So because that case is already going through the court process, the place for you to argue the facts of that case are in court and not by filing a fraud report against the dealership. There's an open court case where...
So wouldn't that be a civil matter though, sir?
Wouldn't what be a civil matter?
With the whole situation with the car company or with the car dealership, they had my car the entire time. They had my car a week afterwards, after they already obtained their car. Then they filed it. Then that's when the case got filed, was when they already had their car back. They still had my car. They had my car the entire time.
Okay. But they released your car when somebody came to pick it up.
My car that I had, I wrecked my car in the mountains. I took it in to have it worked on to a dealership. They gave me a loaner car because it was going into service because it needed mechanical work before it could get worked on as far as body wise. So I've uncovered fraud upon their department or the service department of the car dealership, and I'm trying to report that, and they're not going to let me.
After they already use you guys as a repo company.
Okay. So I'm not going to argue with you about the facts of the case. I read the case. What I'm telling you is that your place to argue the facts of the case is in the courtroom and not by, whatever.
Look, man, I understand that, and my rights are being violated not only by your department but also by the car dealership. So I'm just trying to find proactive ways to situate that because I got a large company I'm launching.
I understand what you're telling me, but the place to argue this is in court, and that's your recourse.
Okay, well, I want to file a grievance against the officer then.
Okay. Do you have an email address, and I'll send you a complaint packet?
Yes.
What's your complaint packet? There'll be instructions in there on how to file the complaint. You can either drop it off in person or there's other...
I'm not from there, man. I was just there visiting. I just wrecked my car and turned it into a dealership, and all this shit happened, so...
Okay. Well, it'll have instructions in there on how to get that back to us. And then...
you remember?
My name is Sergeant Kincaid, Kinkead, and my badge number is 224.
All right, thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yes, I will. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Officer Sparosio.
Hey, Officer Sparosio. My name is Chris.
From yourself, what's going on?